Andy, you have said repeatedly that you believe that what the jury actually voted on, what they rendered a verdict on, had no merit.
Well, John, just to take the verdict, I mean, we could talk about probably a dozen different reversible errors in this case, but the jury was not asked to find unanimously the crime that Trump was supposedly covering up when he allegedly falsified his business records. It's a bedrock principle of the criminal law that if it's a fact that is going to drive the sentence, and we're talking now about the fact that turned this, what's ordinarily a misdemeanor in New York law, into a felony, if it's that kind of a fact that's that consequential for sentencing, it has to be found unanimously by the jury, and this jury didn't. And no one in his right mind thinks that you have to give voice to a jury verdict when there's patent constitutional error in the case.
And in wrapping up, Trump said that this is a great embarrassment to the state of New York. And then Jonathan pointed out this idea that Michael Colangelo left his position as a deputy or assistant attorney general at the Department of Justice to take on the mantle of a humble state prosecutor for this case. I mean, that was something that a lot of people said, well, that draws a direct connection between what's going on in New York City and what's going on at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
I think the ultimate verdict that will come in today is not the verdict the jury delivered months ago, but a verdict on the New York court system. This is going to be the final gavel fall on a system that allowed it to be used for political purposes, for the weaponization of their once vaulted legal system. And New York used to be the premier system, and many of us are still in astonishment as to how this legal system allowed these cases to go this far. You know, the fact is that the lack of any real punishment really does capture the absence of substance to this case. I mean, this case has always been more inflated than the the Goodyear blimp. I mean, that you now have a president who will walk away and go to the White House. But I have to say that I think that Merchan will guarantee that his court walks into a degree of infamy with this decision. This was a made-up crime that should never have been allowed to go to trial. He then had layers of reversible error in order to get this to the point of today, where he could call the incoming president a convicted felon. But I think the judgment will be far harsher for the New York court system than it will be on President-elect Trump. I think there's a very good chance that this could be reversed. There's not a lot of hope that the New York court system will redeem itself. I'm still, quite frankly, always an optimist that there'll be someone who says, for the love of God, let's make it clear you cannot engage in lawfare in New York. But at the end of the day, this peddler's wagon of reversible errors is going to pull up in front of the United States Supreme Court. And I think they're going to find it a very hard case to make in front of those justices.